Hey everybody, what's going on? Juan here, welcome back to the channel. Last week Nintendo published their latest Nintendo Direct video, and I love that experience because it's always a matter of sitting down and no BS. It's just a straight up video, announcement after announcement, and in it, we finally know the latest The Legend of Zelda adventure that's going to be making its way to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this gathered a very mixed reception because people thought that because Breath of the Wild was originally a Wii U game, that this would be a brand new adventure. But it turns out that this is Link's Awakening, the Game Boy original. Not talking about A Link to the Past or any of the DS or 3DS games. We're going all the way back to that thick Game Boy handheld device that people loved to play growing up. And we're getting that game, but it is going to be fully reimagined in 3D for the Nintendo Switch. Now that part sounds awesome for just about everybody, but I think that the main thing that people are very mixed about is the graphical style and the animation, talking about those chibi graphics. If you go back to something like World of Final Fantasy, a lot of people, myself included, were also very mixed, which is, hey, you have this awesome classic throwback game, but the art style isn't exactly what I wanted. So in this video, I'll be talking about the Nintendo Direct, the things that definitely stood out for me, the things that I'm looking forward to in 2019 as a result of the Direct. I'm not going to talk about each and everything because I think that as time goes by, we're going to be getting some additional information. So before I keep going any further, please don't be afraid to go to the comments section and let me know what you thought about the Legend of Zelda announcement and what else did you appreciate or did not necessarily like about the Nintendo Direct. Going back to the Zelda announcement, personally, I'm very happy about it because my first time beating The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past was actually in 2018 because I love the 3D Zelda games like Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time. I played some Twilight Princess. I never played Skyward Sword, but I know of these games, right? I've experienced them a lot. And even though I did have a Game Boy, my main games of choice were the Kirby games, Pokemon Red and Blue, the Pokemon trading card game, and I just never got around to playing Link's Awakening. And the reason is actually, and this is completely true, I thought that A Link to the Past and Link's Awakening were the same game. So when I saw people play the Super Nintendo one, I was just thinking, oh, so they just ported that to the handheld. So I have no previous experience in playing Link's Awakening. So the fact that I'm getting this on the go and I'm also getting it on my screen is something that I'm ecstatic about. Going back to 2018 once again, another game that I played and beat that year was It'll Do 2, which is also available on the Nintendo Switch. And that game, just by looking at it, you know it's a Legend of Zelda clone. That gave me that itch, right? If you know what I'm saying, to play more games like that. So the fact that, hey, I'm gonna get another one of those games for the Nintendo Switch is just awesome for me. And now let's talk about the main thing, which is the animation and the art style. Look, going all the way back to this game called The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. When that game was announced, people hated it. Not disliked, not felt indifferent. People hated it because Nintendo, admittedly enough, had built up the expectation that the first GameCube Zelda game would be more realistic based on some tech demos. But hey, we got Wind Waker and people hated it until they played it. There's a reason we have an HD remaster on the Wii U. And before we continue to judge, my advice for both you and me is to just wait. Let's just wait. Let's just wait and experience it. Nintendo can do no wrong with most things. I'm going to be careful because we're not talking about the Switch Online service, which I do have a video about that right here on the channel. But generally speaking, with things like Mario, with The Legend of Zelda, they've done more right than wrong. I love the fact that it's coming out in 2019. And hey, who knows? Maybe for this year, they are working on Link's Awakening. But for 2020, they're working on something brand new that none of us know about. And additionally, what if this sparks the interest for other games from that Game Boy era, like Super Mario Land 1 and 2? I know we're going to be talking about Super Mario Maker 2, which is coming out on the Switch as well, but that would be kind of awesome. What do you think? The second game I want to talk about, and this one comes out on July 12th, is Dragon Quest Builders 2. And I played the original one on the PS4, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the charm, the story, the fact that you're the only character that can create, that can build things, and no one else really knows about it. The fact that you get Minecraft, but you get a story mode. And I'm not talking about the Minecraft story mode game because that literally is a thing. It's coming out at the same time for the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. It's going to have online 4-player co-op, and that's a bit of a shame because my wife and I cannot wait to play it together. And then we realized, wait, we do have two PS4s. We have a PS4 Pro and an original model, but we only have one Switch. But you can't do split screen based on what we've read. So that means that we got to spend $120 plus tax so we can play together. So this is the moment where if it was cross-play between the Switch and the PS4, that would be beautiful, because then we can play it on the Pro and see how that version runs, and then we can compare that with the Switch version. I don't believe that's going to end up happening, although Sony, I don't know if it's you that still got this thing going on, but I would love if we could have cross-play between those two versions. And it seems like they're definitely going all out with the second one, with more character customization, more options in the world. It's got more charm, more style, and I think that this is the perfect example of you don't need to change the game completely, just add more to it, because it did feel a little bit dry after a while. I never completed the first one, and I think it's because after a while, you kind of figured the game out, and there's no problem with that, but the fact that it's a co-op now, and then you can invite people to your world and vice versa, means that there's going to be a lot more replay value and incentive to continue playing the game. So my question to you is, if you are planning on getting it, which console are you going to get it for? And I guess back to back, we're going to be talking about customization, because at number 3, I do want to talk about Super Mario Maker 2. And for context, the only time I had ever played the previous one was during our Extra Life Marathon last year, where one of our good friends, Alex Nation, he brought it over here, and I never created a level, I just played them. And I loved some and I hated some, but that's the charm of the game, right? And I know that it also came out on the 3DS, and people said that was definitely an inferior version because it just didn't do as well. But now that we're not going to get the same game, but instead a sequel, it's a brand new opportunity for people like myself to experience it from day one, because I played it just in November of last year, so people had already burnt out on that game, or they already figured out every little thing about it, so I was very happy to see that we're going to be getting a sequel. And apparently, it does seem like we are going to be having co-op, because we saw Mario and Luigi, so I'm very excited for that. I think that any game that comes out on the Switch should have some form of co-op option, because that's the entire gimmick of the thing. The moment that you get it, you get the Joy-Cons, you can split those, you can play 2-player, so it's weird whenever you have a mainstream Nintendo game that comes out, you play it, but only one person can touch it. Now, I'm not saying that co-op should be the emphasis, because if you're like me, I love single-player experiences, but having that option definitely makes you feel a little bit better. Much like with the Dragon Quest Builders 2, it increases the replay value, so I'm very excited to play this, and the fact that once again, this, much like the other games, is coming out in 2019. Don't expect me to make levels, because I'm terrible at that, but I'm not opposed to making videos of me being tortured with levels, because if it's anything like the Extra Life Marathon, I get frustrated very easily, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens once that game comes out. And this is nice, because at number 4, this is something I can actually talk about because I played it. Battle Royale comes to the Nintendo Switch in the form of Tetris. Tetris and Battle Royale. Who would have thought that that would work out so well? And the fact that it's free for Nintendo Switch Online members. I had talked about the fact that I made a video talking about that service, and if this is an indication of what Nintendo is willing to do with the service, I think we're definitely headed to the right direction, because this is online only, and the fact that I get to play with over 90 people and I have a slight chance at winning, it's just insane, and I love it. With this one, surprisingly enough, in one of the runs, I got to number 16, and these hands, people, they weren't like this, they were like this, because the game speeds up. The fact that with the game, people can target you and you can use the analog sticks. Now, don't come in here expecting me to explain it, because I went to a Reddit thread just to learn how to actually play this properly, and I got confused, because the game, admittedly so, when you go in, it doesn't actually explain a lot other than start, options, play the game, and hope to survive. We just talked about the importance of single player in games, but because you only have yourself right there in the middle of the screen, and there are so many people around, and you're playing Tetris, you ain't got time to look at other people's gameplay sessions, especially when they're so small. So you're playing by yourself in a way, but you're playing with hundreds of people, depending on how many times you play. So it's quick, easy to play, hard to master. Do more of this, Nintendo. Now, the next 3 things are small things that I thought would be important to bring up in this video. The first one being Starlink, because my wife actually gifted me the starter pack during Christmas, and I got that for the Switch because obviously Fox McCloud. Yeah, this game is available on other consoles. Who cares? It's all about the Star Fox-like experience, because it's not a straight-up Star Fox game, but I definitely like it. It's not my type of game, whereas games like No Man's Sky, games like this that require a lot of time and talking to buildings, which hypothetically there are supposed to be people in those buildings, but when I hit the button, I'm technically talking to a damn building. But despite that, I have fun with the game. I haven't touched it in a little while, but that could all change thanks to a free DLC. The fact that they're still supporting this and going all the way now to Captain Toad, which is a game that I never played except the demo on the Switch, which I know that's a port from the Wii U, and a lot of people complain about that, but I enjoyed the demo, but I never felt the need to buy the full game. That is until now, where they announced we're getting a free update. It's gonna include co-op, plus we got some DLC on the side if you want some additional gameplay experiences. So I'm not sure, because I only played the demo, like, how does co-op work with this? Or are they adjusting the puzzles? Does the second person just kind of walk around? As somebody that loves to play games with my wife, and we love puzzle games, we love adventure games, we love platforming games, and Captain Toad is sort of a combination of all of them, I'm definitely interested in playing that. We're getting some pretty good co-op experiences on the Switch, so let me know what you think about Starlink, and what do you think about Nintendo adding support for Captain Toad? This definitely could spark the interest for Nintendo to go back to other games, like Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Tropical Freeze, and I'm perfectly okay with it. And the last thing that I have to bring up in this video is a concern, because people, I'm afraid. I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I played the first two. I have played games like it. I love the action RPG genre as a whole. We actually have the HD collection on the PS4. And when they announced this one, I was like, oh, awesome, Switch exclusive. But graphically speaking, something just felt off for me. Just the colors and the vibe and the frame rate. We're talking about a Switch exclusive. That means that if this does not run well, there's no other option. There's no plan B, people. I would love to have a plan B with this. I don't know how much money Nintendo has. They got to have a lot of money, because I know Marvel is very jealous of their IP, of their franchise. So the fact that this is only coming out on the Switch is a huge deal. And I guarantee you that you were like me. You were super excited, but you kept looking at the footage, and it's like, oh, I really want this to be good. I'm not saying this to complain and for it to fail, and so I do another video down the line complaining about it. I really want this to succeed. Let me know which was your favorite thing about the Nintendo Switch Direct. What are you most concerned about? What were you disappointed in the fact that they did not announce any additional information? And why is that Animal Crossing? Because I know that's what people wanted to know about, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed everything that I'm doing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that notifications bell, and give me that thumbs up. And I am considering doing some additional Nintendo Switch coverage, because there are so many games that come out for that tiny little thing that a lot of times I look up on YouTube, I look up on websites, reviews and things like that, and surprisingly enough, there's not a lot of them out there. So something like Katamari, maybe you can expect a gameplay session where I just sit down and showcase some of my favorite games for the Nintendo Switch. So up until next time, folks, thank you for watching and supporting, and never forget that because we're going to be getting all this, a bunch of free DLC and updates, this video has concluded, but the epic journey most definitely continues. So thank you for watching, gang. Take care. Fox, say goodbye, Fox. Don't be antisocial, man. Say goodbye, my friend. He's a little shy. Give him a second.